Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
That is a really...
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh my, what a play, what a grab!
Another jump here on the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and Ding, he rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Juno's down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Kpop wasn't far behind. Prophet, he's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound is huge. Another bomb coming from Jono. Oh my God, he does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. We're gonna try and circle around. I'm gonna call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy, and short ball switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time!
Oh, the Raven.
What in the Lord's name is that?
That's so good.
I'm the best Tracer in the world.
Oh my word.
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
Sorry.
Hello. So, welcome back. Happy New Year. As you can see, I have the New Year's dragon. So, but Happy New Year to everybody. This is first stream and content of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. So we're gonna start with the flight Jeju Air, since we are still in a national state of mourning in Korea, and we are going to react to this and then talk about the president and on their third president as of weeks. So let's get into it and let's go.
So first of all, let's start out with the crash. Now, this is sensitive. So if you are sensitive,
warning, if you are sensitive to anything bad or gross, I would advise to maybe just look away.
Super sensitive about this. If you have some sort of phobia of flying, or this is a phobia for you, I understand, and maybe you want to cut out here. And once again, I have, nothing doing this from an analysis standpoint, from a liability standpoint, and also from, a point of deep consideration for the lives lost and the people that lost loved ones, family members, in that crash. As of now, all but 2 people appear to have been killed on that flight. It appears that there were only 2 survivors at this point. That's the evidence I had as of 5 minutes ago, that only 2 people had survived, and they had what is described between moderate to severe injuries. All right. So we'll get into it. All right. So let's jump into the flight here. So the flight was a flight on Jeju Air. Now, anybody knows, first of all, Jeju, for those who don't know anything about Korea, let me explain what Jeju is. Jeju is an island. It's this island down here. You might be able to see it. Let me try to focus over here. You might be able to see it kind of the south here. It's kind of Korea's Hawaii. That's how I like to describe it. It's got a big volcano in the middle.
It is kind of like their vacation spot.
It's the most flown route from Jeju Island to Seoul. Is one of the most flown routes in the world, right? In terms of volume, right? Between those 2 places, right? And the airport is wildly over capacity. That airport is like super overbooked, right? Because it never intended to have the amount of traffic. So they're actually thinking about building a second one, but there's some holdups for environmental concerns to build a second airport on the island, right? Because they just need more capacity. So this was not a flight to Jeju, though. I mean, the airline is Jeju Air after the island, right? This is a flight between Bangkok Savannapool Airport, and yes, that's how you pronounce. It's not Savarnabhumi, right? For those that might think so. As I like to say, not Savarnabhumi. Bangkok's new international airport. There's 2. BKK is the new airport, and DMK. Dunmuang is the old airport, which actually I went into last night, and actually the immigration was quite quick at DMK, but it's a little bit dated at that old airport. So the flight was from Bangkok. It left at 1 a.m. and arrived at 8:30 a.m. These are often the type of flights that I take. So I often will take these flights leaving late out of Bangkok and arriving in the morning in Korea, because what I'll do is I'll try to sleep a little bit on the plane, and then when I get there, I'll just crash for another couple hours, and that'll be my sleep. So that's a route that, once again, I've taken these flights before, and I've been on Jeju Air so many times. It's kind of like I want to say the Spirit Airlines, but maybe that's not fair. It might be the Southwest. It's sort of the low-cost carrier of Korea, right? it's one of the low-cost carriers. Now, low-cost carriers are more profitable than mainline carriers, kind of legacy carriers, but they don't have massive margins. And that's going to be relevant when we talk about the consequences of this. That's going to be relevant when it comes to what's going to happen coming out of this, right? So the flight was supposed to land at 8:30 a.m. Obviously, you see here it says canceled. Canceled is a polite word for crashed, really. Crashed. Yeah, someone said Frontier. I think Frontier is also a good comparison as well. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm gonna play the video, and we're gonna talk about what allegedly happened here based on the preliminary reports. So this is the crash video. Once again, if you're super sensitive, you can look away. And
I will say one thing before we play this is if you look at the I do have a tweet that actually kind of shows this. Is it? I think it's I do have it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, if you notice, landing. It looks like a landing gear failure. So that's what it looks like. It could not be, but it looks like a landing gear fail. Okay. Anyway, movie.
And look back in 30 seconds, and it'll be over. Okay. So real quick, this is the crash video. There's not really it's not live audio. It's the news audio, but I'll keep the audio in there. Yeah, the audio's on. I'll keep the audio in there. Let's go. Well, you see the news, but you can kind of hear that. You can hear the jet engines. So until the airplane impacted, it was actually in one piece. So if this actually was either a longer runway, or if it had what's called EMAS, which we're going to talk about in a second, right, which I have a little bit of knowledge of because I worked as an attorney for the Broward County Airport, and we had an EMAS system at the end of the runway, right? It would have kind of sunk into the end of the runway, but what it did was it went off the runway and then it hit a instrument landing system, so some antennas at the end, and that's what caused the explosion. This is no landing gear, so you can see here very clearly right here, it's a belly landing. This is a no landing gear landing, right? And it is possible to land a plane like that. It is possible, but it's super high risk. So the alleged, according to the news and according to what we've heard so far in the preliminary reports, they have used the term bird strike combined with bad weather as the reason for the landing gear malfunction. Now, that's the part where, look, I see people getting into threads on Twitter saying, well, how does birds affect the landing gear, et cetera, et cetera. That's something we're going to get an investigation on. I think at this point, trying to, drop conclusive evidence within 12 hours, 24 hours of a crash is not going to happen. That's not how these investigations happen. There will be a very serious investigation into this because particularly Korea, which has a crazy history of airplane accidents and other issues, and we're going to talk about that, is going to look in this very seriously because this is not just going to hurt Jeju Air. This will hurt all Korean airlines. This will hurt the reputation of Korean airlines as a whole, as a countrywide. So obviously there's going to be some looking into safety issues, in general, particularly at Jeju Air, but I think all the airlines.
Again, like I said before, it's similar to it's differences. It's fiction and completely different. In the K-drama Vagabond, which the whole plot revolves around a plane crash. It's kind of a little similar, except just lands. That one was in the air. But it's oddly a similar situation.
In Korea will reassess their safety at this point. That's just how things go. So we're going to get more proof on that. And it's not for me to do the air, once again, I'm not an engineer, I'm not to speculate on that, but I do want to talk about kind of what happens afterwards, first of all, legally, and what's going to happen in terms of the investigation, because obviously this is an international thing, right? So, okay, who's going to look into this? Well, obviously, it's a Korean airline landed in Korea. So Korea's folks that are, over airline safety, et cetera, are going to look into that, right? Now, there were 2 Thai nationals on that plane. So you can imagine that perhaps there might be some, information sharing between, Thailand and Korea, right? So obviously there might be some cooperation there, some collaboration there. But the primary investigative body would be Korea, and presuming that since most of the nationals on this plane were Korean, right, most of the damages will be within Korea. So this isn't something that's going to deal with a lot of parties that are from a million different countries. It's going to primarily be something that is contained within lawsuits, etc., that might be in Korea, right? Now, is the NTS, somebody in the chat says the NTSB and Boeing. Of course, Boeing is going to have to get involved here. Boeing has, and this is something that many people have pointed out, a abysmal record over the past couple years.
Especially, I think it's Boeing 97, I think. But Boeing actually has a history of plane crashes. So, yeah, their record is not great.
And that's to say the least. And we can talk all about Boeing's corporate structure and what led to that. And that's perhaps a separate episode to just deep dive on Boeing and the BS inside of Boeing and all that sort of stuff. That's a beyond thing. But of course, Boeing is going to be at that table because of the airframes, right? And we have to decide whether there's an issue with the airframe itself and whether there could be a grounding of an airframe. If you guys can recall, whenever there are issues that appear to be with a class of plane, they'll just ground the whole class. They'll just say, yeah, we're just grounding all of these planes until you fix the problem. And, whether or not that happens, we'll see. Obviously, when that does happen, though, that is a massive disruption. And to do that at holiday season and what is peak season for travel here would be pretty crazy right now. Still could happen. I'm not saying wouldn't happen, but it would be pretty crazy with flight issues for that. Now, to be clear, Jeju Air has not been deceptive. If you look at what they've done, and this is, once again, very very Korean, as well. This is the CEO and the executives of Jeju Air bowing and apologizing and saying they take full responsibility, right? So I know this may be weird for Westerners, but this is something that does happen, right? Where they say, nope, this is our responsibility. We take full responsibility for this, right? So that's them over here. Nice shot of the CEO and everybody else apologizing publicly for what happened. Right. In a sincere fashion. This is not at least appearing sincere. See, their appearance of sincerity is 100x more than Johnny Somali. Whether or not you believe they're sincere is up to you, but they do it better than Johnny. That's all. Or Ramsey. I'm sorry, Ramsey. All right. So I'll show some photos here and then just talk about it real quick. So apparently the survivors were from the tail section. So they're actually flight attendants that were in the tail.
It's because they were at the very end of the plane, like they were all the way in the back.
It's grisly here, but I'm sure you can see why only the tail people survived, right? Because everything else was not looking good, not looking good at all. In fact, I think this photo here is a rescue or it's a removal of some folks in there, but also this is where they got the folks that survived. Were like back up in the tail.
Yeah, that's
so
you can tell that's
everything
not
else
good.
Just in bits, smashed, blown up, just
on fire
state. So those were the survivors that were in severe to moderate condition. And I want to talk about another airline, actually a Korean airline, actually the Korean airline that for years, and I'm saying years. So this is an article in 1999. 1999 from the Wall Street Journal. Korean Air tries to fix a dismal safety record. So Korean Air, which nowadays has rehabilitated their image. In the early 2000s, they kind of rehabilitated their image. Korean Air had a horrible safety record. For both things that were issues with their pilots, and miscommunications, which we'll talk about. But also they had a crazy one here. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but if you guys don't know the story of Korean Air flight 007, this was back during the Cold War, where the pilot of the Korean Air was shot down by an Su-15 over Russian airspace, right? So they were supposed to have a flight path. This is back in the old USSR days. Those that remember the USSR, shout out to you guys. There was supposed to be a flight from Anchorage,
Good old Soviets,
to Anchorage over to Asia, and they were supposed to go over a route which stayed clear of Russian airspace. So this is Kathmandu, which if you ever played Risk, you know that you have to invade America through Kamchatka. You know you have to invade America through Kamchatka. That's, if you played Risk, you know this. It's a basic fact.
Yeah.
So they had some prohibited airspace here. You have the Kuril Islands, which were at one point, Japanese, a little bit of feuding over that between Russia and Japan, but are taken care of by Russia nowadays. So they flew over this prohibited airspace, and a Russian fighter jet went up, took a look, and launched a missile and destroyed the Korean airliner, with everybody who was on, including a congressman that died on that flight. So that's 007. And then the other really, really bad one, and this is real bad, which killed almost everybody, not everybody, there were like 20 survivors, was Flight 801. And this one is very famous because this one was because of a hierarchy issue. Because the Korean hierarchy is super serious. This is a crazy one. So this one actually was a flight that crashed into Bajia Peak, south of Nimitz Hill in Guam, and they killed 229 of the 254. Now the issue was that there was a big issue of seniority. So in Korea, like, number one, the oldest and also like the captain has a massive amount of hierarchy. And in that kind of systematic, in that sort of basic hierarchy, it's you don't question the senior pilot when he's like, yeah, this is what we're doing, everything's okay, and you're the co-pilot, you're the engineer, right? You're the first officer or whatever, and you're saying, hey, that's fucked up, and the pilot's like, don't worry about it. You don't have the really ability to challenge that or override that or whatever else. And they've changed that. Korea, this happened in 1984. They changed their culture. They actually changed the language they can use in the cockpit because of this, right? This is a really interesting one. And if you listen to a breakdown, we're not going to do it today, but there's very interesting breakdowns of the Korean language they're using and how it's formal, and how, if you listen to it in English and subtitled, you wouldn't get how it's very subtle. The engineer and the first officer try to challenge the pilot, but the pilot ignores them or brushes them off or doesn't pay attention, right? And that's how that accident happened. So it took decades for them to recover from that. Although Korean Air did recover, and at this point they're still, one of the biggest airlines in all of Korea, which I fly all the time. I fly Korean Air all the time, despite the fact that they got a airliner shot down by a Soviet jet, and they had a serious crash in Guam in 84, which, to be fair, is 2 years before I was born anyways. So, maybe they've had some time to patch
It was also many years ago.
things up.
All right, so with that, we're going to then go over to the president of Korea. Then we're going to actually, we could watch that. Maybe I could. Do you want?
김양태님, 양유경님, 박영수님.
Yeah, nah. Ooh, that's rough. Okay, we're actually just might watch that later, but we're gonna look.
Guys, how does South Korea keep getting more and more unstable? I just don't understand. I naively thought that after the martial law attempt of the president failed, things would start to go gradually back to normal. I predicted that he would end up going to jail and things would just go back to normal, but I was so damn wrong. Things have never been worse. For the first time in this country's history, they impeached the substitute president, okay? They impeached the acting president within 2 weeks of impeaching the main president, with scenes like this coming from the National Assembly. Look at this. It's absolutely wild. Because of this instability, the South Korean won is at its lowest since the 2008 financial crisis. This led a
That is actually insane.
well-respected political science professor based out of Seoul, South Korea, to say this. Look at this.
You tweeted that South Korea's future has never been more uncertain since the Korean War, and that even North Korea's future is now more predictable.
Look, you have to understand, saying something like this before the martial law incident was unthinkable, and yet here we are today. As I say in every South Korea video, we are witnessing history. So we have to talk about it because it's an absolute catastrophe. Let's do this. So this all started back in December 4th, 2024, when the South Korean president shocked the entire nation by imposing martial law with no prior warning. The National Assembly got together.
Which also, you can't do that if there's actually, like, I know what he argued. It's like, North Korean, pro-North Korean people and leftists are trying to sabotage me. I mean, they're actually the fact that they're pro-North Korean, but you can't do, the way he did it is actually not legal.
Against all odds and forced him to lift it. Just a few days later, a vote was held to impeach him on December 7th, but he shockingly survived it because his own party was still backing him up. That all changed though on December 14th when yet another impeachment vote was held and it passed. The president, while apologetic, kept emphasizing that he did nothing wrong, okay?
Interesting.
So even his own party was like, okay, man, no, you gotta go. According to the Constitution of South Korea, when a president gets impeached, the prime minister becomes acting president. In this case, it was Han Duck-soo. But this barely meant anything just yet. The president was impeached, yes. His powers were suspended and he was banned from traveling abroad, but he was still the president. How does that make any sense? Well, let me explain. In South Korea, there are two courts of the highest order, the first one being the Supreme Court. It does exactly what you would expect a Supreme Court to do. It has the final say on laws. However, when it comes to matters of impeachment, it's powerless. This responsibility falls under the Constitutional Court, the second court of the highest order. But get this, they don't just handle impeachment, they handle other areas of the law and have had direct conflicts with the Supreme Court over who has the final say. Just classic South Korean politics. But one thing is for certain, when it comes to impeachment, it's all their business. No new elections can be held for a president until they approve the impeachment. But here's the thing. The Constitutional Court of Korea is comprised of 9 justices. But there's a problem. There are only 6 justices currently holding office. In order to pass a law, you need 6 yes votes, which means every single one of them needs to vote yes on impeachment, and if just one of them votes no, it's over. The president regains all his powers back. You see, a constitutional court justice has to stop serving under 2 circumstances. The first one, reaching retirement age, which is 70. The second one, which is reaching the end of their term of 6 years. And once a term is done, the National Assembly has to reappoint a new justice. Yep, that means we're back full circle to the National Assembly. But how did that even happen in the first place? How are 3 justices missing? You see, back in October of 2024, 3 Constitutional Court justices retired at the same time. And understandably, there were fears of operational paralysis because the National Assembly loves to take their time on things like this. And that's exactly why we're here today. But regardless, even though they only have 6 members, the Constitutional Court has already started the trial proceedings. They have 180 days to decide on whether they want to impeach the president or not. The president, of course, has been stalling as hard as he can by saying that he wasn't receiving any of the trial documents from the Constitutional Court, even though they literally sent it to every known address of his and even to his own staff. Does this guy think that we were born yesterday or something? What is he doing? Unfortunately for him, though, his genius master plan of ignoring court documents isn't going to do much, though. The trial is moving forward regardless. But while this may have seemed like good news, it only made the opposing party more and more anxious. 6 justice votes were simply not enough. They needed to fill those 3 seats to guarantee the impeachment of the president, otherwise they risk failure. But unfortunately for them, they had no control over that. According to Article 11, Section 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Korea, the Constitutional Court shall be composed of 9 justices qualified to be court judges, and they shall be appointed by the president. But as we know, the president's powers are currently suspended, which meant that the acting president was technically supposed to take on this responsibility. But after almost 10 days of being appointed as acting president, Han Duck-soo had made no progress. The opposing parties were getting impatient. They wanted this impeachment to be 100% guaranteed. But what they were asking for had never been done in South Korean history. Sung-min Cho, who teaches political science in South Korea, appeared on ABC News and explained it pretty well. Watch.
No, this is totally unprecedented. And then the part of why this is so chaotic is that since there is no precedence, so there is a legal debate to what extent the acting president, the prime minister, has the authority to appoint the 3 vacant judges in the Constitutional Court or not. So all this uncertainty and then absence of precedent itself is causing all this chaos.
This never happened before. There was never a case in South Korean history where an acting president had to appoint 3 judges to the Constitutional Court. But at the same time, this was a prime minister who was right under the previous president, who had enacted martial law. The opposition parties were accusing Han Duck-soo of trying to protect the president by delaying the appointment of...
So they've never had this experience before of... impeach the president and have the acting one also impeached. So they don't know the procedure.
The judges so that the impeachment fails. On the 23rd of December, they threatened to impeach him if he didn't appoint judges immediately. This would mark the first time since 1948, since the enactment of the South Korean Constitution, that an acting president would get impeached. And according to that same constitution, if that were to happen, then after the prime minister, the next person in power would be the finance minister. In this case, it would be Choi Sang-mok. However, he wasn't really excited over the idea of becoming acting president number 2. He was actually urging the National Assembly not to go ahead with the vote because if the acting president would get impeached, it would deal a significant blow to the country's economy and security. He really didn't want this. But unfortunately for Choi, on the 27th of December 2024, the impeachment vote went ahead and it passed. The acting president was officially impeached. The impeachment passed while the entire party of the president was protesting in the National Assembly as it was being held. It didn't matter if they participated or not because the opposing party had the majority of the votes anyway. And they wanted Han Duck-soo gone. Their reasoning was that Han Duck-soo was taking way too long to appoint the 3 judges they needed for the Constitutional Court. This impeachment going through absolutely shattered the South Korean won. I mean, look at this. Okay, look at this. On the 27th of February 2009, it was at its lowest, $0.00065 to 1 won. And today it's at 0.00068. It's almost going to beat its record. If this
That is actually insanity right there. Like,
this keeps going lower, it'll easily trigger a financial crisis. But regardless, the finance minister, or should I say, the new acting president, pledged to stabilize the nation because, in his opinion, minimizing governmental disruptions is the most important thing to do right now. That sounds wonderful, man, but your country just went through 3 presidents in the span of 2 weeks, and you're about to be next if you don't appoint 3 judges. Make no mistake, South Korea is willing to go through its presidents like toilet paper if they don't get what they want. On the same day the acting president got impeached, the Constitutional Court officially began their trial for the first president's impeachment. Despite claiming that he had never received any of the legal documents, the legal team of President Yoon actually showed up on the first day of trial. Interesting. But whether 3 judges will be appointed before the end of this trial remains to be seen. One thing is for sure though, I would never want to be president or acting president in this country. These are all the South Korean presidents ever since the establishment of the new constitution. Overthrown, assassinated, removed by military coup, sentenced to death after his presidency. Dude, you either end up dead or in prison. This is ridiculous. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I tend to agree with Sung-min Cho. For the first time in history, North Korea is more predictable than South Korea. So I'll keep you updated. I'll probably make another video around January when there's more progress, but for now, I just hope that the people of South Korea can stay safe and hopefully avoid further crisis. Thank you so much for watching. I love you and Happy New Year, baby. Mwah!
so we are witnessing history with Korea right now. So, okay, now we're gonna take a look at, this. I talked about this a few days ago about MADEIN and articles. Okay, but I did not watch this video. Is there subtitles?
아이돌 걸그룹 정말 오랜 연습생 시절을 거쳐서 정말 어렵사리 데뷔를 하지 않습니까? 자, 그런데 오늘 소개해드릴 이 그룹은
Okay, I guess. Okay, we're gonna watch. Yeah. Okay. So this is a 11-minute video. Okay, the statement alleges the CEO Lee Yong-hak coerced Gayen by leveraging her position in the group into attending a date. There, he forcibly kissed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is a statement. So we're going to watch it. And I think there might be another video later down, but we're going to watch this one.
자, 이 아이돌 걸그룹 정말 오랜 연습생 시절을 거쳐서 정말 어렵사리 데뷔를 하지 않습니까? 자, 그런데 오늘 소개해드릴 이 그룹은 어렵게 데뷔하자마자 상당히 좀 큰 암초를 만났습니다.
맞습니다. 자, 올해 9월에 데뷔한 걸그룹이고요. 한국인하고 일본인 다국적 걸그룹입니다. 자, 9월달에 데뷔를 해가지고 잘 활동을 하고 있는데 소속사 대표 때문에 좀 큰 고통을 겪고 있다라고 멤버들의 부모가 제보한 상황인데요. 이 소속사는 대표이사하고 설립자가 함께 공동대표를 맡고 있는데 멤버 중에 한 명입니다. 실수를 좀 저질렀다고 해요. 지난 10월 5일 공연 끝나고 당시 좀 썸 타던 남자친구를 숙소로 불렀던 적이 있는.
Okay, just to clarify, bring your boyfriend to the dorm isn't a bad thing, but people, I don't know why, but get mad when an idol has a relationship with someone else. But this was not bad. She did nothing wrong bringing her boyfriend to the dorm, just to clarify.
근데 소속사 대표가 요거를 보고 대표한테 딱 걸리게 된 겁니다.
그렇군요. 자, 아이돌은 가뜩이나 연애 문제에 상당히 민감한데 신인 아이돌이 이렇게 남자를 숙소로 부른 건 대표 입장에서 화날 일이긴 하죠. 이 대표는 너 이거 얼마나 잘못한 일인 줄 알아? 해당 멤버를 상당히 다그쳤다고 합니다. 자, 그러고는 정말 이런 제안을 해왔다는 주장인데요. 체크포인트 짚어보죠. 자, 1일 여자친구 해줄래? 자,
That's wild to say. Let's be known, Gan is 18. Gail is 18. So give me 1 second. Okay. She's 18, so so having that said, the CEO is probably like, I don't know, very 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 old, so I mean that's just wrong in general, just say that. But let's keep watching.
당시 상황을 증언했던 멤버의 녹취 일단 한번 들어보시죠.
나 이번 활동까지는 끝내게 해주세요. 그게 제 소원이에요라고 이렇게 말을 했는데 너 소원 들어주면 내 소원도 들어줄 거야? 그러면 내 소원은 1일 여자친구 해주는 거야. 해줄 거야? 라고 하셨어요. 뽀뽀해도 돼? 라고 해서 강제로 하시고 입국하기로 했었는데 막 손을 집어넣으려고 하시고
You can hear her crying clearly. This is
뽀뽀도 목에도 귀에도 계속 핥으시고 제가 여기는 지키고 싶어서 이렇게 하고 있는데 이거 치워봐 이런 식으로 얘기하시고 계속 만지시고 가슴 만져봐도 돼? 엉덩이 한 번만 주물러보면 안 돼? 이렇게 하셔서 싫어요 했는데요. 계속 그러고 2시간 동안 그랬어요.
자, 좀 설명 좀 해주시죠.
네, 해당 멤버는 지난달 24일에 그 대표한테 이번 활동까지만 끝내게 달라는 게 소원이라고 빌었다고 합니다. 그런데 대표가 너 소원 들어주면 내 소원 들어줄 거야 라고 하면서 멤버에게 1일 여자친구가 해달라고 얘기를 했습니다. 해당 멤버는 그냥 하루 동안 밥을 먹고 영화를 보고 이런 데이트를 생각을 했다고 하고요. 계속 활동을 하고 싶다는 마음에 그걸 수락을 했었다고 합니다. 그런데 그러자마자 대표가 사무실 문을 잠그고 몸을 더듬었다는 건데요. 이후 영화관에 데려가서 영화를 보는 내내 강제로 입맞춤을 하고 신체 중요 부위까지 만지는 등 성추행을 했다고 합니다. 싫다고 거부 의사를 했지만 소용이 없었다고 전했습니다.
I might make a video with just reacting to this video specifically, but I'll see. But this is mess. It's getting worse.
자, 그런데 당시 상황에 대해 소속사 측은 또 다른 반박을 하고 있습니다.
네, 소속사 측은 완전히 반대 얘기입니다. 일단 이 멤버가
Because of course they did. They think that the CEO is like, oh, I didn't do that. I mean, of course you would say that.
활동을 계속하게 해달라라고 얘기를 했고 또 일일 여친이 되어주겠다라고 먼저 얘기했다는 겁니다. 그리고 또 영화도 먼저 보여달라 그랬다는 거예요. 영화를 보여달라 그랬기 때문에 같이 영화관으로 간 것이다라고 얘기를 하고 있어요. 또 두 사람이 일상적으로 소원 얘기를 나누는 대화가 영상으로 있고 성추행을 의심할 만한 정황은 전혀 없다라고 밝혔습니다.
자, 그 해당 멤버는 결국 자신이 이 소속사 대표에게 앞서 들으신 그런 일을 당했다라면서 부모님에게 털어놨다고 해요. 자, 이게 그러다 보니까 결국 다른 멤버들의 보호자들 귀에도 들어가게 됐다고 하는데.
Thank goodness it reached other parents. But yeah.
자, 그 멤버의 부모님들은 회사로 찾아가서 그 소속사 대표를 당연히 만나셨겠죠. 예. 자, 그 당시 상황 녹취도 한번 들어보시죠.
아이들 마음 편하게 맡겨놓았을 때는 거기에 대한 진실을 좀 알고 싶어서 어떤 일이 있었는지 제가 명백히 실수한 게 맞고요. 대표님, 어제도 말씀드렸지만 그 실수가 아니었잖아요. 대표님이 그동안도 이렇게 좀 애들을 사심으로 많이 대하셨잖아요. 랑 그동안 심야 영화 많이 보러 다니셨잖아요. 아니요, 딱 한 번 맞습니다. 그 말에 따라주지 않으면 말도 안 되는 불이익을 주셨다고요. 저희가 상식적으로 느끼기에는 정말 벌이 아니고 이거는 애들 고문이에요. 아직도 미성년자인 거 아시죠?
That this I would say this person, if eventually he gets caught or he actually gets punished, deserves jail. Because again, if we go back 1 second, no, it's still a minor. So that said, that is not okay.
박 변호사님.
자, 이게 10월 말입니다. 다른 멤버 부모가 이 얘기를 듣고 나서 대표한테 소속사 전화를 걸어가지고 저 맞냐? 지금 정말로 성추행이.
I mean, of course, the CEO is going to deny it happened because he's trying to save himself from getting caught or going to jail or anything bad happening to him. So he's going to lie and say it wasn't me. I didn't do these things.
이나 뭐 이런 것들을 당했다고 하는데 맞냐라고 질문하는데 처음에는 오해다, 그런 일 없다라고 대표가 강하게 부인을 했던 것 같습니다. 그래서 이 멤버 부모들이 직접 사무실에 가서 좀 더 추궁을 했다고 해요. 추궁하니까 그때 갑자기 죄송하다, 제가 잘못했다라고 태도를 바꿔서.
Yeah, of course. Don't mess with parents. Just don't try to lie to parents. They can see through. Especially when something involves their kid, they will push until you eventually tell the truth.
사과를 했다고 합니다. 그럼 대책이 뭐냐라고 물어보니까 대표 자리에 책임지고 물러나고 앞으로 멤버들하고 개인적으로 안 만나겠다라고 약속을 했는데, 그러면 이 팀 해체하는 게 맞지 않냐 하니까 주주들이 있어서 해체는 어렵다고 하면서 그룹을 앞으로 팀 해체하는 게 맞지.
Yeah, I mean, that's the unfortunate scenario. Actually, is that they can't disband the members because money and shareholders.
않냐 하니까 주주들이 있어서 해체는 어렵다고 하면서 그룹을 앞으로 잘 끌어갈 거니까 믿어주면 좋겠다라는 얘기를
I sincerely doubt there's any trust left for you.
했다고 하는데 소속사에서는 또 다른 좀 얘기를 하고는 있습니다.
어떤 얘기요?
특히 지금 이 아이, 피해 당한 그 아이라고 하는 게 아이가 아닌 미성년자라고 지금 알려져 있는데 뭐 민법상의 미성년자 19세고요. 다른
Wait a second. What?
미성년자라고 지금 알려져 있는데 뭐 민법.
However, 19, she is still a minor under civil law. So in civil law in South Korea, you're still a minor at 19. Okay.
미성년자 19세고요. 다른 아동 청소년.
But then this doesn't make sense. Another digital law states that the minor age until 18 years. So either she's either one, she's a minor.
미성년자 18세입니다.
Depends.
차이가 좀 있기 때문에 청소년 보호법이나 아동 복지법상의 보호 연령은 아니.
So it just depends. Yeah, so it depends which law. If we're doing the Civil Act or the Juvenile Act, depends if she's actually a minor or not.
미성년자는 아니다라는 주장도 하고 있는 상황입니다.
By the Juvenile or the Child
아동 청소년 보호법상의 미성년자는 아니다, 이렇게 반박을 또 하고 있는 거군요. 자, 그런데 앞서 그 멤버 부모들과의 면담 자리에서 오고 간 이런 내용들을 들어보면 팀장님, 이제 거기서 이제 그 해당 대표가 어떤 몇 가지 이제 약속을 했던 모양이에요. 자, 그런데 그 멤버들 보호자들은 대표가 그 약속을 아직 이행하지 않고 있다, 이렇게 또 주장을 한다고요?
그렇습니다. 소속사 대표하고 면담 후 3일이 지났는데 아마 그 멤버들이 공연했던 것 같아요. 근데 대표가 공연 현장에서 멤버들을 보고 있으니까 이 부모들이 가서 얘기했답니다. 아니, 약속이 외된 거 아니냐, 이렇게 얘기하니까 그래, 근데 나가겠다고 나가는데 그게 문제가 아닙니다. 저 이틀 뒤에 일본.
Okay, wait. So he went and was watching them watching the members of the convention.
이렇게 얘기하니까 그래, 근데.
Yeah, that's the least of the problems of him being there because he's CEO, but also it's who it is the problem.
나가겠다고 나갔는데 그게 문제가 아닙니다. 저 이틀 뒤에 일본
Group had Japanese performers. The members were on a plane heading to Japan.
일본 스케줄이 있어가지고 멤버들이 비행기를 타고 일본을 가는 중인데 이 대표가 같은 비행기에 탑승을
Again, why? You're already in a. What he did is he essayed a member of the K-pop group and is basically lying about it, that he didn't actually did. I mean, if I pull up the same thing, I have it saved. Okay. I think. Is there another one? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Let's look at this tab. So this is who it was. And if we can scroll through, say by company executive, blurred background footage. Yeah, it started with this, and then we're here, and then we're gonna go down through this later. Okay.
했습니다. 그리고 더군다나 그 피해 학생 피해 멤버 있지 않습니까? 그 멤버 옆에 앉아 갔다는 거예요. 그러니까 그 멤버뿐만 아니고.
So he sat right next to the same member that he's claimed to essaying. I mean, I'd be shocked as well if I saw that.
다른 멤버까지 큰 충격을 받았다고 사실이죠. 그러니까 그 멤버 같은 경우에는 비행기 타는 내내 그 무서워서 벌벌 떨었다고 하는 내용이고요. 그 주장하고 있는 것입니다. 그리고 해당 멤버는 뭐라고 말하냐면 그날 그 비행기 탈 때 입었던 옷과 신발 이런 것만 봐도 심장이 쿵 한다면서 SNS에 올렸는데 얼마나 가슴이 떨렸으면 이런 내용을 그런 그 SNS에 올렸겠습니까?
자, 이 해당 member가 그 일본 공연을 다녀온 뒤에 건강이 뭐 좀 급속도로 악화가 돼서 급기야.
So her this is she had a health problem and then is where she was let go and lied the reason why she was let go.
활동 중단을 선언했답니다. 자, 그러자 이 대표는 다른 멤버들 모아놓고 이런 얘기를 꺼냈다고 해요. 그 멤버 아버님 얘기까지 한번 들어보시죠.
더 아이들을 이제 앉혀놓고 가해자고 오히려 자기가 피해자다라고 아이들을
And there we go. He straight up lied to all of them and said he's the victim and that the 18, 19-year-old member is the perpetrator of these claims. And the company closes or takes a hit. Do you know how much will you have to pay as damage compensation? So he's literally blackmailing them to not say anything or to turn again on her. Yeah, that is actually insane. Like, let's say, for argument's sake, he didn't do it, but sitting next to the person you're accused of essaying doesn't help your case at all.
계속 같이 할 거냐 말 거냐 걔네들한테 OX로 답을 하라고 얘기해갖고 애들이 얼마나 겁을 먹었는지 세모를 얘기를 했대요.
자, 박 교수님, 뭐가 됐든
He closed or suffer a blow. I mean, I'm not against them closing down after everything that's happened. They kind of deserve to get closed down. It's just the careers of the girls is the only concern.
받거나 타격을 입을 수가 있다. 뭐 이게 이제 듣기에 따라서는 이 뭐 어린 이 멤버들, 이 친구들 입장에서는 좀 무겁게 들릴 수도 있을 것 같아요.
그렇죠. 아직은 주장입니다만 정말로 이런 말을 했다면 협박으로 들리죠. 왜냐하면은
It does sound. It is. It basically, if this is true, that is a threat. Basically, that is basically blackmail at that point.
회사가 문을 닫는다. 이렇게 되면은 정말 걸그룹으로서의 꿈이 다 없어지는 거잖아요. 그러니까 가장 이 아이들은 10대 후반에 20대 초반에 아이돌이 하고 싶어서 모든 걸 걸었던 애들은 본인들의 미래인데 회사가 문을 닫는다? 그럼 난 이제 설 무대가 없겠구나. 뭐 이런 생각 들 수 있고요. 거기에 나아가서 손해배상 차원에서 돈을 너희도 물어야 될 거다. 이런 얘기까지.
And one of them barely has any money in general. Like, they aren't. Most of these members aren't from a successful, wealthy family. They're pretty, like, normal people without much. So they're kind of. I mean, one of the Japanese ones, Mashiro, is only doing this also to support her mother. I mean, is like in a one house. Not most of these people, most of these members aren't from very wealthy families.
지금 했다는 건데 그렇다면 아이들이 지금 나는 돈이 없는데 내지는 우리 부모님한테 부담을 드리는 건데 그럼 얼마나 속상하고 무서웠겠어요.
I mean, I don't think they'd be a bird. I think I think that the parents would be glad they're free from this. I don't think they'd be a burden to parent, but they'd probably think that it's like I don't want to burden my parents with this.
당연히 이 아이돌 10대 후반에 20대 초반의 어린 아이돌들은 너무 이제 무서웠을 수밖에 없을 거예요. 그래서 친구임에도 불구하고 이제 X를 대지는 못하고 이제 세모라고 든 거죠.
Thankfully, you have two veterans of the industry, so as leaders, so you can that actually does help them to the little girls that are scared of this. They have two members that probably know what to do under these circumstances or something.
자, 일단 저희는 오늘 이번 사안 관련해서는 조금 최대한 좀 중립적으로 들여다보고 싶어요. 자, 그래서 제작진이 소속사 측에 다시 한번 또 연락을 해서 입장을 좀 되게 구체적으로 들어봤죠.
네, 해당 소속사 대표는 제작진에게 전혀 사실 무근이라는 입장을 밝혔습니다. 소속사
I mean, of course, the CEO and the agency is going to say, "Oh, this isn't true," as they claim that there were no sexual harassment or contact between the CEO and member in question.
측 입장은 이렇습니다. 해당 멤버와 대표 사이에는 어떤 성추행과 성적 접촉이 없었다고 주장을 했습니다. 또 해당 멤버가 여러 차례 팀 내 불화와 무리를 일으켰다고 했는데요. 대표에게 팀에서 활동해달라고 요청했을 때 달래면서 좀 포옹과 같은 접촉한 건 사실이지만
Yeah, that comfort and touch wouldn't do that if you're being accused of something again.
이걸 성적인 접촉이라고 할 수는 없다는 입장입니다. 또 사실과 다르게 왜곡된
Yes.
기사 보도로 회사 측의 명예가 훼손되지 않도록 사실관계를 충분하게 파악해달라고 했습니다. 하지만 멤버 측 부모들은 성추행 사실과 해당 멤버가 피해를 입은 건 사실이고 대표가 멤버들과 더 이상 접촉을 하지 않았으면 한다고 입장을
Yeah, I'd suggest that too.
전했습니다. 또 어른들 때문에 아이들이 꿈을 포기하지 않았으면 좋겠다고 했고요. 또 마음 편하게 활동할 수 있도록 도움을 주면 좋겠다는 바람을 전했습니다.
그렇군요. 자, 박 변호사님, 이게 말이죠. 어떻게 보면 이 대표와 그 해당 멤버 사이의 어떤 문제잖아요. 그런데 걸그룹이 member 수가 많지 않습니까? 그러다 보면 정작 이 논쟁에서 벗어나 있는 다른 멤버들은 정말 그 직접적인 당사자가 아닌데
네.
그룹이다 보니까 피해를 입는단 말이죠.
그게 가장 문제인 거예요. 아마 그래서 대표
That's one of the big problem is it's might be one member, but all of them suffer at the same time because so what specifically he said is that he also like tried to kiss her and all this stuff, and also asked her to be a girlfriend for a day, and like earlier in the video it said he was touching her for 2 hours in places, like try to kiss her on lips and stuff. It's a lot. it also depends. It also does depend how it's defined in Korea versus anywhere else.
나 소속사 입장에서도 그 부분을 얘기하는 것 같고요. 그래서 사실관계가 좀 제대로 확인이 좀 돼야 될 부분도 있는 것 같아요. 왜냐하면 멤버가 5명 있으면 그 중에 1명 말고 나머지 4명은 활동을 못 하잖아요.
그러니까요.
바로 데뷔가 됐는데 그런 부분 때문에 좀 빨리 이 사건의 진실관계가 팩트가 좀 체크가 좀 돼야 될 필요가 있지 않을까 생각이 듭니다.
알겠습니다.
So, yeah, 1 for 3 officially denies. That's the Korean one, and this is the American, English one. So we would like to inform you that if you made in, we would like to inform you that MADEIN member has left the team as of today, has been working. Personal circumstance has become difficult to carry out. She has decided to leave the group. Is a lie. They probably forced her because this is also after she had like health issues, and then comes back and she suddenly leaves. Operated a 6-member system, and there's the others. To inform you that's for our groundless. Therefore, we'd like to inform that if legal issues arise, we'll deal. No room. Yeah. Okay. That's that. Okay. Then here we go, where she's where one of the members, CO 7, and then she liked a post that says the CEO is a dirty pig, and if that doesn't say something, I don't know what does. And here's a few other posts. They don't deserve you. 7, and that's 7 posts. And then we have on a bruise right there. So on the 13th of December, an upload of live stream used widespread concern, made in mysterious sports, numerous visible and unexplained bruises. Fans note that these bruising seems too intense and oddly placed to be a result of choreography. I mean, she could have bumped something, but it's a little oddly timed, so right there. Okay. And on the 28th of December, which I made a video about this last week, the article exploitative labor practices, including the unpaid labor of at least 40 staff members. The company responsible, unnamed in the article, but the timeline and description matches 143 Entertainment. So I made that only 143 needs to be held accountable for actions. Oh man, did I accidentally? I think I accidentally. Oh man, dang it. Okay, here we go. Ben Leaf 143. Again, the staff deserves justice for the alleged assault committed against her. The staff deserves fair pay for their labor. Moreover, 6 young girls are still under the thumb of the alleged predator and have reason to be worried about their physical safety, given mysterious bruising or non-response to the outrage. Yeah, they didn't even respond to this. Okay. How can you help? In the tagging. This is just that. Okay. Boycott. Send an email for a Spanish version. Sign the petition. Spread the word. It's still unfolding. Following Protect MADEIN okay, so is there anything new they have posted? That was for. Okay, if you're not, yeah, this is so if you are not boycotting, is for supporting. Okay, an article did talk about this. Oh, yeah. 3, the agency in question withheld half production to reduce payments, claimed that the issue with the MB note, it could be due to AI, which was used due to the fact that natural. Yeah, they were very late. Also, it's not even the fact that it's AI; it's just very lazily done. So, Shin Info. And then, okay, is this another timeline? Oh. Wait, when was this? This was the 29th. Okay, anything else? Oh. Oh yeah, they basically try to erase her from the group entirely, like what? There's only now 6. And this picture is now all these are gone. She's just she's just a kid. Okay, and yeah, so basically, the rest of them are it's actually insane.
The boy next door.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's extra stuff. Yeah, so that's just going over all this. And this is the victim is a literal girl. Alright, that's okay. Until updates come, that's decided to go over the entire thread. And until any updates happen, it's gonna be a while before I talk about this, but Johnny and I didn't go over Johnny because there's not really any updates on him. But went over the plane crash and the president impeachment, but this is the big one because not many people are talking about it because they prefer to talk about the other disbandments and all the other more famous groups. But this was the big serious one. So yeah, that's why I'm talking about it, because no one else is bothering to talk about it. So, with that said, that's the stream today. I will talk to you. I do have a stream later tonight but I will talk to you later, and goodbye.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
That is a really.
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my!
Oh
my! What a play! What a grab!
Another jump here on the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and Ding, he rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Juno down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Kpop wasn't far behind. Profit! He's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound is huge. Another bomb coming from Jono. Oh my God! He does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. They're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh, makes me happy, and short ball switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time.
Oh, the Gravy!
I'm the best tracer in the world.
You could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
goodbye.